Hey everyone, how's it going? So this is going to be a tutorial on how to squat. I'm going to go through a lot of things in this video. I want to make it as thorough as I can. I'm going to go through all kinds of topics such as my warming up, my stretching, shoes, different variations of squats, and I'm going to try and just make this as all-inclusive as I possibly can. So here we go. So when I'm squatting, the first thing I do is I warm up with 3 minutes of cardio. I personally prefer the Stairmaster machine, and I just go at a pretty quick speed, and I'm just trying to get blood in my legs, so that way they're warmed up. And then after my cardio, I start stretching. And I'll show you my stretching sequence. I generally start with a wide stance, and I reach down the middle, and then to the left and to the right, 30 seconds each. And then I go down into what I like to call a shotgun. That's just what I've called it. And then I do that motion for the left and right. And then I go into a deep lunge, and I hold that for 30 Mississippis for each leg. After warming up, I would like to mention is I prefer wearing flat-soled shoes like Vans or Converse. I used to have Converse, but I destroyed them and I picked up Vans. But I've been squatting in both, and there really isn't a difference. There is a difference, though, when you're squatting in a running sneaker, like a Nike. There's nothing wrong with Nikes. It's just that you're searching for balance when you're wearing a fat-soled shoe, and it's just easier to stay on your heels and keep your balance throughout the whole squatting motion when you're in a flat-soled shoe. So, but they aren't necessary. Some people also squat without shoes, just because their feet are nice and flat and it helps them maintain their balance. I just mentioned that you want to stay on your heels. That's essential for keeping your balance throughout the whole squatting motion, and that way it prevents you from teetering forward or teetering too far back and you lose balance and lose the weight. But you want to stay flat on your heels and nice and grounded. Another thing you want to do is you want to grab the floor with your feet, like you're squeezing the ground with your toes. It sounds a little foreign and weird, but what it's going to do is it's going to help you keep your arch in your foot. And this is just for your own foot health, and it also helps keep your feet planted. And that way, if your feet maintain their arch, your knees won't come in. So you want to keep in mind that you maintain your arch in your foot. And then, to help prevent your knees from caving in, you want to point your toes out a few degrees. Now, you don't want them to be perfectly parallel, straight, and you want to let your toes point out a little bit, and then your knees would ideally be tracking out with your toes in the same angle. You don't want your feet angled out really wide, but you don't want them really pointed in. And the same thing applies with your knees. You don't want your knees going super far in. You don't want your knees going super far out. Just a little bit out, and then perfect. You just want to make sure that your knees track in the same angle as your toes. Another thing to keep in mind is a big chest. When you're squatting, you want to keep a big chest and your chest up. That way you're not leaning too far forward and preventing you from caving forward with the weight and just dropping the weight or falling. So you want to keep a big chest, and you also want to keep your chin tucked just a little bit, because a lot of people, they're struggling with the weight and they're pulling it up when they're coming up with the weight, and they're pulling their chin back, and that's just not ideal for your neck, and that could lead to you dropping the weight in any direction. So you always want to keep your chin tucked a little bit, but you don't want to smash your chin all the way down. Just tuck your chin a little bit. Keep it comfortable. Just pulling the bar into your back. So you don't want to just hold the bar. You actually want to use a little bit of force and pull the bar into your back just a little bit. You don't want to pull it into you and then you're flying forward. You just want to tug it in, and pulling the bar into your back is going to help keep your back muscles engaged. That way, when you're coming down and you're coming back up with the weight, it's helping you keep your back engaged, and it's actually, you're using more muscles than just your legs when you're squatting. So it helps lighten the load in a sense. Now, if you want to get hardcore into powerlifting, you want to bend the bar over your back, and that's really going to help you produce a lot more force. But for your average person, you don't really need to bend the bar, but it's definitely something that I've kept in mind when I'm lifting for a 1 rep max or a 5 rep max. You want to keep all of these in mind when you're lifting heavy. The thing to keep in mind is your range of motion. You want to make sure that you're breaking 90 degrees in your leg, and your hip joint and your knee joint, you want them to be parallel. So that way you're getting the full range of motion in your legs. And if you're not capable of doing that with or without a weight, you want to look into stretching and being able to build flexibility in your legs. And I won't go over that today. Today I'm just talking about squatting. Another thing to keep in mind while you're squatting is unmounting the bar. So this is before we even get started. You want to approach the bar, get under the bar, and place it on your traps. Now you can place the bar on your traps or halfway down your shoulder for a low bar squat. With a low bar squat, it just comes down to comfort. But with approaching the bar, you want to use a staggered stance. That's what I've always been comfortable doing. With a staggered stance, it's a little bit more athletic instead of just coming underneath the bar with your feet parallel, but that comes down to preference. Staggered stance or fully parallel, you unmount the bar. When you're learning the back squat, if you are very, very entry level, one thing you can practice is sitting into a chair and standing back up. Now you can do this with or without a weight. It just comes down to your level of experience and or comfortability. Ideally, when you're back squatting, your bar path would be a straight line coming straight up and down. You don't want the bar coming forward and backward. We have an intruder. Monty, come. Yes. Good girl. I also forgot to mention breathing. When you're back squatting, you want to take a big breath at the top of your rep. And then you would ideally hold that breath until you go down. You sink into the pocket of your squat, and then you're coming back up. And once you reach a sticking point, you would exhale with all your force. And you would just repeat that for every single rep. And that's just to make sure that you're focused on your breathing and you don't get lightheaded or pass out when you're squatting. So once again, you would take a big breath at the top of your squat. You would hold that in your tummy. You'd be breathing into your tummy, not into your chest. I'll show you that. But you want to make sure you breathe into your stomach and you're keeping that tight. And then you come down. And then on your way up, you would exhale.
All right.
So I wanted to say thank you guys for checking out the video. And I wanted to say thank you to certain people like Silent Mike, omarisuf, this Instagram account that I follow, Squat University. And because with those accounts and the knowledge that they put out, I'm able to create this video and make a giant homologation of all the information that I've learned on the internet about squatting and give me the capability to share it with you guys and make this. So thank you to them, and thank you to you for checking out this video. I hope you guys have a good one. Bye.